Hello fellow gamers, and welcome to another episode of The Joy of Mega Building. Today we're going to build a base not too far from the first abandoned village you encounter in the original story mode. And the area that we're going to you can actually access using this log once you get the grappling gear. Now let's head on over to the area where we're going to be building. I have been waiting so long to do this episode. We've been doing this for a long time on our live stream. But here are the coordinates for the area we're going to be building in. I call it a base, but it's more of a playground. And first of all, it is hard not to notice this beautiful, beautiful jungle waterfall that's going to be the backdrop for what we're going to be building. Now, along with this backdrop, off in the distance, you're going to see the drug lab. On the topic of bases, it may make sense to build a base over there in conjunction with what we're building over here. But this area right here, this long winding jungle river, this will be our canvas. I know it doesn't look like much, but it's going to be more than enough space for our needs. And once we're done completing these structures, I'm going to explain the rules of the game. Now let's take one more pass over this building area just so you can see the scope of the full thing. And of course, so we can check out the waterfall one more time. You know I'm a sucker for waterfalls. Now, while this game is fun, it's not without its dangers, which is why you're going to want a structure over here to patch up your friends to get them ready for the next game. So once we've completed the structure that I like to call the Poison Soup Roulette game, afterwards I'm going to show you how to build a structure that I lovingly call the Infirmary. It is going to be essential in keeping your teammates alive, especially if you use poison dart frogs in the soup as part of the game. Winning the game is important, but so is keeping your fellow Jakes alive. After all, if they lose and you're able to get them healed back up, well, all that means is they're going to be all the more willing to play another game. Alright, enough sightseeing. So we're going to build some structures over here, and we want them close enough to this little rock area over here so that other people can take screenshots and point and laugh and stuff like that. But you want to build it kind of tight to where you can fit 4 frames in here, because you saw that log over there. And I think that, if I remember correctly, this is a good spot right here. Yeah, I really like that. I think that looks good. I think it's going to work. All right, let's warp it in. Now, let's pull up our frame palette again, and let's build 4 more. And we're just going to keep warping these in until we have 4 frames. Yes, perfect. There we go. And as you can see, we've wedged it in perfectly right in front of the log. And next, we're going to need something to climb up with. And I'm going to change it up, a little splash of color, and use some bamboo ladders. Bamboo is not far from here, so it shouldn't be too difficult getting the bamboo long sticks and bamboo sticks to create this. And I'm doing this with a little bit of symmetry. You know, the ones on the right are on the far right, and the ones on the left are on the far left of each other. And let's just go ahead and morph this in. Perfect. And now that we have something to climb up with, we're going to need something to climb up onto. I'm going to go ahead and put some mud roofs up. This is really all you can use for it. It's the only real stable surface. And while I'm doing this, folks, if you're interested in seeing this in action, you really should check us out on Twitch. Every now and then we play this on Twitch live stream, the old Poison Soup Roulette. And oh, let me looks like we got a guy we got to take care of real quick. Yeah, let's go ahead and that would be a problem. But let's get up on here and let's get this completed. I'm real happy with that. Now that we have our foundation built, we're gonna want to put a roof over our heads. You know, it's the dry season right now on this save, but it's not always going to be the dry season. So you want to make sure you can keep these fires lit. So we're gonna add another level of frames, and it's probably, no, it's not going to. So we're gonna complete what it allows us to complete, and then we're gonna go ahead, pull our frame palette back up, and we're gonna fill in the gaps. Okay, that's great. I love this part of building, when you can really start to see things come together. Now let's pull our frame palette back up, and you know, we're gonna use the banana roofs. There's a nice little story I have with this. I used to always use the palm roofs, but pals like Keith have opened me up to using banana leaf roofs because they do look pretty. Let's get back up here. I'm going to call this the looking rock. Let's get up here and complete that. Yeah, that looks good. I like that. Now that we've got the basic structure down, we really want to start putting things down that will help with the rules of the game. And first things first, you want to make sure that you keep prying eyes away from each other's soup bowls. And the best solution to this is to use a short wall. Not that your friends would ever cheat or conspire against you, but you know, this really is the best way to keep the honest honest. So let's go ahead and warp these in, but as you can tell, they're still pretty see-through. So we're gonna have to go with something that's a little more opaque, and the best thing that I can think of is gonna be these short mud walls. So let's go ahead and get these installed to just keep, you know, prying eyes away from each other's soup bowls. It's kind of like making sure people cover their work up when they're taking a test. You remember elementary school, right? Right. All right, let's warp those in. There we go. That looks great. Now let's move on to the key component, your campfire. So if you're just playing with one other person, you could obviously, I guess, just use something as small as just a simple campfire. But I really recommend the campfire. And there should be plenty of big stones, small sticks, and sticks to get this taken care of. Not just with the trees around here, but since we're so close to a waterfall, you should have no issue finding enough stones to get this constructed. All right, we've got our blueprint ghost set down. Let's jump back up onto the looking rock and get these completed. Now that we've gotten our poison soup roulette structure taken care of, let's head on over and create our infirmary. And maybe snack on a snail. Maybe next time, Darby. Sorry, buddy. As you can see, I got the HUD turned off, so I can't pick that snail up. My apologies. So the challenge with this particular area is that there's also some stuff that's kind of in your way, but you can use that to your advantage to make it a little more interesting. I'm going to clear this palm tree out just to give me a little bit more room to work with. And then I'm going to step back to place my first frame. You don't have to let these palm leaves go to waste, by the way. You can always use them as a roof to your infirmary. I say this a lot. The first frame you place usually is the most important one. And I don't want it to be in the way of this raffia nut tree. So I might have to change my game plan up a little bit and put it right in front of this log. There. Perfect. I love it. Now that we've hopefully passed that test, we can continue on with our framework of our infirmary. While the poison soup roulette area has some basic rules to follow when building it, when it comes to the infirmary, just build what you think makes the most sense to you. You know, don't be afraid to color outside the lines. Make something interesting. This is your jungle world. I know I'm focused on building something interesting now with it. I know I've said the word interesting about 800 times in this episode, but look at that. This is working out great. I love that. We actually get to have a rock in our base. I love it. It may sound silly to, a lot of y'all watching this that I get so excited about having a rock in my base, but there have been so many times, and a lot of y'all can probably relate to this, where a rock is the difference between you being able to put a frame down or not. So that's why I'm excited. And I'm loving the way this is turning out. And you may have noticed I'm using palm leaves for the roof. The reason I'm doing that is I want a little light to shine through the top. I'm going to close in the walls, but I just want a little bit of light to shine through while people are recovering. And it looks like I have room to put another frame over here. This is great. Because I want to make it look a little more interesting. There's that word interesting again. Let's finish it up with a little palm roof. Very nice. Next, you're going to want a place for your Jake friends to be able to rest and recover. And places like where this log is at right there, there's not going to be enough room to put a shed, but I think a spot right there should be just fine. Right on the right, not so much, but right here, I think so. So let's go ahead and put a blueprint down and see what happens. Yes, perfect. And this area right here, yep, it will definitely let me put a blueprint down, but I'm not going to because I don't think it will allow me to put a mud wall around it. But it will let me put one right here, which is good. You really shouldn't need more than 2 beds. I mean, if y'all are going so hard on the game, if 2 people get sick, you should be able to pause it. We could probably put one over here, but I'm not too worried about it because, again, if 2 of your Jakes are sick, you can always have them come back over here, pause the game for a moment, get them back to full health, and then they can go back to the Looking Rock while the rest of y'all compete, and you can finish the game. Next, let's put some palm leaf roofs on these 2 sheds, and I really love the way these things look, how they just kind of hang over the sides. Yeah, let's warp those in. That looks great. Okay, now let's have some real fun. So I'm going to pull the old frame palette back up and build some walls. And a lot of people might think, walls are boring, but you can do all sorts of wild things with this. You can build double doors like that. Just all sorts of neat little interesting things to add some character to your infirmary. Okay, here's the part that makes me nervous because that rock's here. Can we? Yes, we can. Okay, great. So we can put the walls up right here. That's perfect. We're going to put another one over here. And since we have these double doors, I think it'd be okay if we put a wall right here. Now, speaking of double doors, I think it would be nice to put a doorway here so we can have quick in and out access throughout the infirmary. So let's go ahead, there we go. Let's put that doorway there. And I think we have a finished set of walls now. Let's go ahead and warp this in. Now that we have our walls set up, let's go ahead and pull our mud palette up. Let's go ahead and build some mud walls, because while our jakes are sick from the game, we want to make sure they have an opportunity to rest. And sometimes you need to let the light out so you can have a good night's rest and get healthy for the next game, right? So let's go ahead and build a nice little closed-in area for our sick jakes, our sick teammates that have lost the game. We want to make them feel safe in here. Nice little quiet area, away from the poison soup roulette, so that they can recover. Now, you know I'm a big fan of the fadeaway, so let's back up, let's complete our work, and then let's get back to work, because we've still got a couple of things to get done before we get to the rules of the game. So now that we built a roof over the heads of your sick Jake friends, we also need to give them a place to rest. And what better way to rest than with a little jungle bed, right? And that's one of the reasons why we have these sheds over here. They're a very nice little nook and cranny to put a bed. Let's go with the bamboo log bed. Should be pretty easy to find the materials. It's also important to have a nice little storage container over here. And we'll go into the details of what you'd put into that in a moment. But first, let's go ahead and place that, because there is another important item that we need to place here that will help in your friend's recovery. And that, of course, is the campfire. And you know what? We'll call this rock the sick rock. We're going to put the campfire in front of the sick rock. All right, that's perfect. Yeah, let's set that down, and let's head on over out next to the entrance, and let's get this completed. Another important survival item is going to be a source of hydration, not just to fill their bellies up with water, but also to help with soup. And we're going to get to that in just a second, but I want to kind of show you what we have here with the entrances and whatnot. So from this side, you can come in and then go straight, like for example, if you have a base over at the lab, and if you're coming from the lab, you can shoot through here as well. I had mentioned what to put in a storage container. You can put water lilies, painkillers, really anything you can think of to cure poison and raise you and your friend's health and hydration. Don't forget the tortoise shells and or coconut shells. Those are going to be very important. Soup is really a game changer here, and the surrounding animals can really help in cooking soup that will get your friend's macronutrients back up. All right, let's go ahead and set this. There we go. I don't really like that, so I'm going to go ahead and deconstruct that blueprint. Reason being, I didn't like the way the long sticks were sticking out the edge. The last thing I want to happen is for them to get in the way of survivors that are trying to go through the entrance and or exits. All right, now that we've warped that in, let's go ahead and give it a little test drive here. It's just spin around in a circle. Try to go from every angle just to make sure there's not really a chance of getting caught on that mud water filter. And it looks good. It looks good. I'm happy with that. And it looks like our infirmary is complete. Of course, you're going to want some tortoise shells or coconut bowls there, metal pot, whatever you have. But now that we've completed this, let's go and let's talk about the rules of the game. So you can play this game with less than 4 people, 2 to 4 people, but it's always the most fun with 4. First things first, let's talk about the different positions. That's position 1, this is 2, this is 3, and this is 4. Once you have your coconut bowls laid down, you're going to put some water in there, and you can do this in any order, start the fire or do this first. And then you're going to put in 3 little goodies. I've got a shrimp and 2 snails. And then you're going to want to put a little baddie in there, this guy right here. And now, we'll start our fire. Bitch. That's right, Jake. One of the 4 people's gonna be shouting that pretty soon. Once this is done cooking, what you can do is you can tab to open your backpack, and you can actually hover over these to see what the nutrition is from it. The first 3 are going to have normal stuff, and the last 3 is going to have a little bit of food poisoning along with it. That will definitely get you hurling. So the way the game works is everybody in your group is going to choose a series of numbers from 1 through 4 and put them in any order they wish. It is important that they not say what their number is until all 4 of the bowls have been poisoned. In the case of 4 people playing, one of them will be the poisoner, one will be the savior, and one will be the organizer. Oops. The poisoner is going to poison one of the bowls in all 3 of the campfires and then add delicious stuff to the other 3 bowls, and the savior is going to do the same thing to the poisoner's campfire. Quick squirrel moment. This game can be played at night or during the day, and it's fun in either situation. Last but not least, the organizer is going to keep track of all the number combinations of everybody and is going to assign each player a campfire. So let's recap. The poisoner is going to poison 1 bowl in each of these 3 campfires and add delicious, nutritious stuff to the other 3 bowls in each of the campfires. The savior is going to go to the poisoner's bowl and add poison to one of the bowls and then delicious stuff to the other 3. And if you're like me, you'd really like to see a demonstration of poison soup roulette. Here we have a member of our community, Just Not Good. He clearly did not win the game. Hey, Just Not Good, keep it on the river. Keep that stuff in the river. Here, I'm going to pop up his name real quick. Please give him a follow. He's also a live streamer on Twitch, and you can find him on my main page. There's his name right there. Fun little fact, the river below we affectionately refer to as the chum line. And one last thing. Once the poisoner and savior have done their thing, it's the organizer's job to go ahead and assign everybody a campfire and ensure that they drink from the soup bowls in the proper order, as we discussed earlier when I was placing the bowls. Thank you so much for watching, and may the best Jake win.